everyone, Amanda here, thanks for joining me. I'm just coming to share my really easy laminated journals. Now I'm going to just quickly show you what I've done, and then in the second part of the video I'm going to do a really quick tutorial for those that want to follow along. So these are super easy to make, it's nothing new. People have been laminating everything that's not tied down for as long as I can remember. But typically people will make them smaller. I've made mine full journal size, so these are 4.5 by 8, just over, yeah, 8. So they will fit, you know, a full journal in, and it's a great beginner way to start a journal. So they're done with the, you know, the what they call the TN style elastic binding system, so that it's really easy. There's no sewing, no anything, and these make great just notebooks, or you can dress them up and do what you want. So I'm going to quickly show you these. I've done another 2 covers here but I haven't done the pages for those yet. So the papers that I've used, you can use whatever you want. It's a great way to use up leftover 12 by 12 papers. Really good way of using them up. I've used the patterned papers that I designed. I've got several sets of patterned papers on my Ko-fi, all in colour tones. So I've made my journals in those colour tones. So this one's pink and red tones, this one's blue, and this one is, you know, your blacks. And then this one will be yellow tones, and this one will be green tones. So let me just quickly, so I've done them all a little bit different. Okay, so this one I've added some one of the Love Life fabric snippets. I've got a video on how to do that, and I've tied it with just string. Okay, so this one is all of the black papers. You can hang the little charms off, you can use eyelets. I'll explain in the tutorial what to do if you don't have eyelets. Okay, there's ways and means of doing everything. So on the inside of this one I've got pockets front and back, really easy to make. Add your journal ephemera. You can turn them into junk journals, you can turn them into vintage journals, you can have them as writing journals, art journals, anything. Okay, so really quick flick. So what I've done is I've taken all of the papers on this one from my black tones kit and used them for pages. Okay, so this one flips out like so, and you can write. And then also I do have some pretty patterned papers, which are all coffee dyed papers, and there's a few freebies over on my Facebook group. So there's another one of the black pages. So yeah, so they're just all plain pages. All you've got to do is cut them up. Okay, we've got 2 signatures. I'll just quickly flick through. There you can see 2 signatures. Okay, and each signature has got 10 pages. Okay, some have got 11. So you've got a decent little journal there, and with having the, you know, the wraparound and the elastics, it means, and because the laminated covers are quite you know, soft and malleable, I suppose, you can fit plenty in. So that's just the pages, undecorated. I've not stuffed it, but if I want to stuff it, it can go as thick as you want. It's fine, there's lots of room in there to add and add and add. And I've not heavily decorated the front, so that, and with them being laminated, you could slip them in and out of your handbag and take it around with you and use it as a genuine kind of journal or notebook or whatever. And they make great gifts as well. So that's that one. And then we've got the blue one. This one I've just tied with a lovely seam binding. Not put pockets in there, that's just got just the 2 signatures the same. But let me just quickly show you. So again, in this one I've used all the blue papers from my blue tones kit. Okay, and some of the pretty patterned papers as well. You can also use, like I've used here, just cut up graph paper, line paper, music paper. You can use absolutely anything with these, they're brilliant. Okay, this is one of my pretty patterned papers. Okay, so that's that one. And then the pink one here, again, I have done an elastic closure on this one with a hole in the middle, and so that the elastic doesn't come out, I've just added a little button to the elastics as I've threaded them through. So that's another idea if you don't have eyelets, to stop the elastic coming through the holes. And this one has just a little pocket on the inside with some little journaling cards using leftovers. Okay. And again, I've used lovely papers from my Pink and Red Tones collection. Beautiful, they're absolutely lovely. I'll leave a link in the description box below, because what I am doing, these colour tone kits are available separately, but what I'm going to do is for 1 week only, I'm going to put them all in one giant kit, and I'm going to do it at a reduced price for 1 week only. So if you want to get all of these, there's red, black, blue, there's the yellow tones, there's green tones, there's a neutral tones, and there's a vintage collection, vintage wallpapers collection, so you can get them all at the same time, and I'm doing them a reduced price for 1 week only. So if you fancy having a go at one of these, I'm going to quickly show you how you can create these quickly and easily. So you want to start by printing out one of your papers or using your 12 by 12s. If you're printing out one of the papers, I would suggest you print it on lightweight cardstock, okay, for the cover. For the pages you can use anything, but for the cover you need minimum 200 GSM cardstock. Alright, so what you want to do first of all is cut the white border off. Okay, just cut it off one side. We'll just trim it off. We'll just trim it all off, and then it makes it easier. Just trim the white border off. Okay, super simple. Then you want to cut it to, on the long side, 9 3/4. Save that because you could make something. And then on the short side it wants to be 8, and it should just be about 8 when you've done trimming your white bits off. Okay, so trim your white bits off carefully if you're using a digital kit. So otherwise it's 9 3/4 by 8. Okay, then we're going to score it before we laminate it. It just makes it easier, and it stops the, if you just laminate that and then start scoring it, it can ripple and it can just look a little bit, just not as nice. So we want to fold that way. So if we're going to fold that way, turn the cardstock on the back. Now I printed on the other side of my cardstock, so I printed my pattern first, then I turned it over, put it back through my printer and used one of my pretty patterned papers, and these are all coffee dyed ones that I've made. They're all exclusive to me because I made them myself. And what you want to do is score at, what we're scoring at, let me remind myself, 4.5 inches and 5 1/4. Okay, and that will give you that nice spine. Alright, so then just very gently just fold it, and at this stage if you want an inked look, then you want to ink it. If you want rounded corners, then you want to round them. So I am going to round my corners because I just think it looks neater. Now when you have finished laminating, I'm going to show you how to trim it to size, and then you want to round. If you round this, then you need to round the laminated, you know, when it's done. Now what I will say is, some punchers do not like laminated, don't like to punch the plastic. Even this one that I've got doesn't like it. So what I do is, I will use my corner chomper, and the bare minimum it's going to do is give you the shape, and you just then continue trimming it off with your scissors. It's no bigger. So then what you need to do is grab your laminating sheet. I'll just go and get mine, 1 second. You have your laminating sheet, and I got mine from The Works in the UK. They sell them in the range, they sell them everywhere. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. I don't know the thickness. They're just cheap and cheerful. This is just a cheap and cheerful notebook. If you want, you know, high quality, then go for, you know, one that's... These were £1, so they work out at 10p each. You get 10 for £1. These are great gifts. They're great for craft fairs and things like that as well, or swaps, or, you know, they don't take an awful lot of time to make the base and the pages. You can obviously step it up and decorate it and do, you know, make fancy bits on your pages and add whatever. But I'm just showing you the bare basics. Right, so then you will feed that through your laminator. Feed it through from the edge, the sealed edge there, okay, and feed it through the way that this is shaped. So we've done our scoring on that side, so feed it through that side, okay, and feed it through carefully and have patience with it. I'll go and laminate mine and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, so my cardstock's laminated. You'll have to excuse the glare, but I can't avoid that. So then what I do is, obviously we need to trim some of this excess. Okay, now you don't have to trim the edge there if you don't want, but I do. What I do is I get my trimmer. The laminating sheets aren't too thick for a trimmer. You can use scissors or a blade and a ruler. And what I do is I put the edge of my paper up against the outer edge of this cutting line here. It gives you about 1/8 of an inch when you do that. So by doing that, if you do the same on all sides, you're going to get the same increment all the way around, and it's going to be nice and neat. And also, if you use your trimmer and you butt it right up against there, you know you're going to get it straight. If you cut it with scissors, it can be a little bit more tricky. If you're using a blade and a ruler, please do be careful. I have a non-slip ruler, if you just show you this. So it's metal, and also on the back it's like, it's very grunged up as that. It's got like foam on so it doesn't slip. So if you're using a knife, please, please, please be careful. Okay, so then what I do is I go with my corner rounder, knowing that it's not going to fully remove it, but it gives me the mark. I'm not sure why these don't cut through plastic. They cut through all sorts of thicknesses of chipboard, but they don't like plastic. So I just use that, and then, you know, it's done the indent for you, so you just go around with your scissors and just trim that off. Some punches will do it. I don't like using my punch on plastic because it can very easily jam. So if you be careful if you're using a paper punch, because it can very easily jam. You know, these are designed for heavy weight. Your normal paper punches and your normal corner rounders are not designed to cut plastic. Then you've got your scores. Your score marks are still visible, so then you want to go ahead and burnish those. Okay, because you've already pre-scored, it should just go very easily. Alright, so then you want to make some holes, top and bottom. Now it's up to you if you want 2 strings or if you want 1. I've done 2 signatures, so 2 holes. So all I do is I get a Sharpie, which I know will mark the laminated plastic without coming off. And I get my ruler. Where's it gone? My Tim Holtz. I like to use my Tim Holtz ruler, which I can't find it. And this is 3/4. So put your ruler across the gap. It's going to be hard to see because it's shiny. Okay, and mark at 1/4 inch in from the score line there, and 1/4 inch in from the score line there. But I mean, you can do it just by eye. Okay, and as for the measurement from top down, you just want to be going, if you want to measure it, about 1/4 inch. I do mine by eye. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you go a little bit too low, because your elastic will stretch over your pages, so don't worry too much. You just want to get them kind of even, okay? So about there and about there. Then if you want the central one, okay, now this is only really useful for those that have got the longer, one of these, where's it gone? You know, the large crocodile, the long one. How have I lost my crocodile? Oh, it's here. Because it's far reaching. If you don't have one of these, you can just use a normal hole punch, and for your centre one, just use a pokey tool and a soft mat underneath. Doesn't matter, you don't have to have eyelets and fancy tools, you can still do it. Alright, now you can, if you want to set with the eyelets, obviously you need to do your hole the same size as your eyelets. If you don't want to use eyelets, I would say go for the smallest one. Okay, so this is 1/8 of an inch, and then I just punch them. Punch my hole. So I'm going to do this one without eyelets because I'm going to think on that it's for a beginner who maybe doesn't have loads of crafty stash with eyelets and things. Okay, so if you're a beginner, you can do these with a normal hole punch if it's sturdy, or like I say, a pokey tool, which is just something that's sharp and with a soft mat underneath. So long as the hole that you're making is wide enough to feed your elastic through. Okay, so I'll do my centre one. So for the centre one, I'll centre my ruler so that it's, because we've got it at about, it's 8 inches just, but obviously because you've added the laminating, it's just over. So centralise your ruler, find the centre point, which is 4, and put a little mark. Okay. Then we're going to go in with the punch. If you don't have one, then use, like I say, a sharp pokey tool and a soft mat underneath, and that's how you add your holes. Like I say, if you've got eyelets, you'd add your eyelets at this point. And then you want to get your elastic. Okay, let me have a look what I've got. So you want 2 pieces. You want one for the centre, okay, to wrap around, and one for your signatures. So how I measure it, this is, I think it's 3mm wide, okay, this elastic. So I measure the length of the thing. You want it to be at least double the length, like so. All right. Feed it in through the bottom on both sides, like that. Okay, so you've got that, and then one of them you want to go up to the top and out, and then back in again. You want the long pieces of elastic to be on the inside of the book, not on the outside of the book. Okay, so that you've got this. All you've got is 2 pieces like that, top and bottom. It just looks neater. Okay, if you want to do it where you just do 2 strings, just wrap it round tight, then fine, but this is just neater. Okay, then you want to pull it, and you want to pull it almost so your book almost bananas. That's the technical term, it's bananaing, right? So because you want these to be quite, not too tight, but a little bit tight. Okay, so I'm going to just pull it tight, and then I'm going to tie it in a double knot. If you do it all in one piece instead of 2 separate strips as well, then you've only got the one knot on this bit, because you're going to have a knot for the centre. So let me just pull it a little bit tighter, because you don't want it's difficult, you don't want them too tight, but you certainly don't want them baggy, or they won't hold your papers in. Okay, so if you was to lift it like that, it's going to banana ever so slightly, but once you have got your signatures in, it'll pull back to straight. Alright, and then you want to trim this excess off. Where am I? Make sure that that's nice and tight so it's not going to come undone. Trim your excess off. Okay, there we go. Now, if you've got a problem with your inside of your string, coming through the hole, which is a typical thing, here's a little tip: use buttons. Okay, so if you use some nice buttons, let me just find one that's quite nice, and you can put them on the outside as well. I'm just going to put one on the inside for here. We'll use this little, what colour I wear? We'll use this little flower one. So what you want to do is you want to get both ends of your string, elastic, sorry, feed it through your middle hole. Okay. It wants to be in the centre between the two signature strings, and then feed it through your button eye holes. These are just cheap little crafty buttons. They're not even proper haberdashery buttons, they're cheap craft ones. Feed it through, okay, and then you want to tie it in a knot. Now this piece of elastic here wants to be about 3/4, when it's doubled over, it wants to be about 3/4 of the width of your book, because you want to stretch it. Okay, you don't want that to be baggy, so about 3/4 once it's fed through. Let's see what it is. So what have I done? Yeah, it's just under the width of the book folded in half, because you're gonna tie that in a knot as well, you see, aren't you? Okay, I hope I'm explaining that. I hope you can follow what I'm saying. But just try it, you know, keep hold of it there, and have a look and see. It wants to be able to stretch over and around. So again, you don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tie this in a knot around my finger. Okay, I'm just going to actually pull it out of the hole and do it, it's easier. Okay. Fingers and thumbs. And again, that needs to be nice and tight. Now, because you've got that button on there, that knot won't pull back through that hole. Okay, so then feed that through there, and this is what you do if you don't have eyelets, or you've got a problem with your string pulling back through. Trim it off so you've not got loads of excess, and there's your wraparound. Ta-da! Super simple. And then all you do is you get your pages. Now, like I explained when I showed you at the beginning, I do 2 signatures with between 10 and 11 pages each. These are all cut to 4, are they 4? What did I cut them to? So I've cut my pages to, what are they? About 4 1/4. 4 1/4 by 7 3/4, so that they fit inside your book. Okay, so they're not protruding. So you're just trimming a little bit less than the size of the cover. And then all you have to do is put them all one inside each other like that, so you've got a little booklet. Okay, now if you know how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you can sew them, or you can just leave them loose, it'll be fine. And then you just slip one inside one set of strings, and then the other inside the other. Just find the middle of my little booklet, inside the other, like so. So 10 pages, that's 40 per signature. That's giving you an 80-page journal, which is quite a lot. And then you've still got lots of room for decorating and filling. You can add pockets onto the laminate, either on the outside or the inside. Just make sure you use a good quality tape. Don't try gluing it or hot gluing it, because wet glue will never dry and hot glue will just melt your plastic. You want to use a good kind of tape. Either use a good quality red line tape or a good quality normal tape. I've been using the Scorpal tape. It's not cheap, but I use it for certain things that need really good strength. And there you go, that is your little laminated full-size journal ready to go. And like I say, you can add things onto the spine, onto the cover. I've got a little dangle on there. You can add pockets inside, etc. You can do what you want, but it's quick and easy to do. You can make these in next to no time. Just use what you've got, or print some lovely digitals and have some fun, and either use them for yourself, gift them, make a heap of them, put them on your bookshelf. How pretty. I hope that's helped. That is a great beginner's journal. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.